When you unchamber around, this moves in and out. When you take it out, the bolt is extended like this. But when it's chambering around, these locking lugs lock into the lugs in here, and it turns, and that way it locks them in. So you pull this will be out when you take it out of the gun, and you turn this 90 degrees. This is called your bolt cam pin, and you turn that 90 degrees, push in on it, and then lift it right out of there. And then you take your bolt. This is the bolt assembly, and this is the bolt carrier. So that basically is mostly field strip. Here's another thing. The extractor. This doesn't have to be done very often either, but I'll show you just because it should be done occasionally. But you push in, this is spring loaded. This is the extractor. That's what pulls your fired case out of the chamber, and this little deal right there is your ejector. That's what flips it out. So you push on it, it's spring loaded, and then you push this little pin out, and you just push down on the back of it there to take the spring tension off of it, and you pull that out, and there's your extractor. I haven't taken it out. You can see what happens. It gets little pieces of brass underneath of it, which rarely ever causes any problems unless you've shot a lot of rounds without cleaning it. But you want to clean that little groove out there. That is what catches on the rim of the cartridge like that and pulls it out of the chamber after it's been fired. And then you just set it back in there, and you'll see how it sticks out like this. You got to push that down and just work this in. You'll feel it, it'll go right in there, and then you make sure it's flush on both sides, just like that. And these are called the bolt rings. This is what keeps the gas it's just like a piston ring. They have to be staggered. Like here's your piston rings. You want a gap here, and gap here. And that way your gas doesn't escape. So as you can tell, you look at them real close, you'll see the little gap in them. And you just want to make sure those gaps are staggered. That's all you got to do. And then you want to put a little lubricant in here and smear it around your finger. Put lubricant on the gas rings themselves, and then you take this and you put it back in there, and you'll wiggle it, and you'll feel it drop down in there. You just wiggle it. You don't start beating on it. You want to wiggle it, and if it's not down in there, you'll see that groove. So you just kind of wiggle it, and if it doesn't fit right in, pull it back out and reposition it. Then you tap that in, and the extractor has to go on the right side because it ejects from the right side. So it'll only go in one way. If you got it backwards, you can't get this in because this hole is drilled offset. So if you got it in the wrong position, you can't get the bolt cam pin in. So you just rotate that to where it's on the right side. It's pretty foolproof because it won't go in one way and it will go in the other. And then you hold this like this, and put a little lubricant right on this bolt cam pin. This whole assembly needs to be lubricated. And then you pull this out. That allows you to put your firing pin in. Then you turn this 90 degrees, because the hole in this, the way you put it in, you have to put it in like this. But in order to get the firing pin in there, which goes through this hole, after you put it in like that, it'll drop right in like that. You pull this and then you rotate it 90 degrees so it's facing this way instead of this way. And then you put a little bit of lubricant on your firing pin and you drop her right down in there. Make sure it goes in all the way. Make sure this is out. And then you take this little cotter key here and you push it right back in here and you wiggle it. I've seen people hammer these in. It's not necessary. Don't ever squeeze this together and don't ever spread it apart. They're factory made to where they stay in there, and you just wiggle it. You don't need to hammer them. If you get it in the right hole, it'll slide right in there. And then you turn it upside down and shake it. That makes sure that your firing pin won't drop out, because if you've got this bolt, when you put it in and this bolt assembly is like that, your cotter key won't go in on the shoulder past the shoulder of it and it'll fall out. So if you just shake it, you know it's in there right. And if it falls out, then you pull your little cotter key back out and you pull this out down like that and then drop it back in there. So it'll be flush with this right here to put your cotter key in. If not, it'll be sticking up a little. So if you pull it down, that's ready to put the cotter key in, and just shake it. In order to get the bolt, and you put 1 drop of oil right in here, that is where the gas tube, that's the gas tube. When the bullet travels down the bore, once it gets past this point right here, it taps the gas from the burning propellant, and it comes down this tube, and that blows the bolt back. That's why they call them gas operated. And that little tube right there, goes into here, and then that's what pushes your bolt back. So you want to put 1 drop of oil right in that hole there and hold it up like that, let it drain down. That provides the gas seal. So, and when you're ready, put it back together. You put your charging handle back in there, slide it in the upper receiver, find the notch, slide it in about halfway, and you have to make sure it won't go in like that. You got to make sure you pull this out, make sure your firing pin's not going to fall out, and then you just slide that in there. It'll go in real easy. There's nothing on here that you have to force, and then you just push it, make sure it's all the way closed, and then that is finished. And then to put it back on your receivers, on your lower receiver, and this bolt assembly here, you want to lubricate this real well. You know, you can see after you fire just, you know, the dozen or so rounds, you'll see the shiny spots. That's primarily where you want your lubricant. But you also want a little bit on the gas ports. This port, these 2 ports right here, when it fires, these ports use just enough of the propellant to throw the bolt back. When the bolt unlocks, the excess propellant comes out these ports. So you just wipe this down good. The lubricant will find its way into the ports when you just push your finger over it, and that way it keeps the fouling from building up. If it's got oil on it, the fouling won't stick to it. And you pull that back. And you just kind of wiggle that, give it a tap. And then you can close your ejection port up. It makes it a little easier. And you put that right there. Just kind of line it up. You'll feel it. You usually have to wiggle it a little. Put your front pin in. Close it up. Put your rear pin in it. Then you do a function test. You pull it back, you push this right there. That way you know your bolt hold open device, that's what holds your bolt open on the last shot. You know it's working. Okay, and then we close the bolt. It's on safety. Check and make sure the safety works. Safety works fine. Then you give it a dry fire. You don't want to keep these cocked. Like if they're in storage, make sure you dry fire them. Because they will, you know, over years, many years, you know, some people say it doesn't bother them, but I think any spring left totally compressed over a long period of time weakens them. So I always dry fire my guns before I store them. If they're going to be stored for a long time, I always dry fire them. And then you want to take a slightly oiled rag, wipe off all the fingerprints off so you don't get a corrosion process started there. Start eating through your finish. Then you're pretty much all set to go. Put our sling back on. And then